Hello, today we're going to be looking at a brief tropical update and an even more brief update on local weather and the eastern United States. So to start off, we're looking at Hawaii, which has some tropical storm warnings with Tropical Storm Darby moving through the area. It has remained tropical, surprisingly, and it is expected to bring some rain, maybe some gale force winds on the southern end of the main island of Hawaii. Looking at the watches and warnings, we have a high surf warning and advisory, small craft and wind, and of course tropical storm warnings. Looking at 7-day forecast just for Hawaii, we see high surf advisory and just the showers and some wind. Some rain and then maybe some brief wind gusts here or there. Looking at the NHC overall, we see in the Central Pacific Tropical Storm Darby, expected to become post-tropical very soon. Tropical Storm Darby, looking at the cone, it is expected to be post-tropical very soon, overnight, and its winds are mainly offshore, but maybe it could get a few of those slightly higher gusts along the coast. Looking at the Eastern Pacific, we have Tropical Depression 6E that formed into Tropical Storm Estelle today. And we see the warnings cone is expected to become a major hurricane, maybe a Category 3 at its peak. It is not expected to go anywhere near the coast anymore, maybe somewhere close to Baja, but no, but it is not supposed to impact it at all. It is no longer expected to go north, and is expected to move out west. Looking at the Atlantic, nothing is expected, but it is likely that the basin will be picking up very soon with the shifting pattern. Looking at the GFS model with rainfall for Hawaii, we see just a couple inches, maybe half an inch at most in Hawaii, and a couple inches out to sea, maybe 1 or 2 in some spots for Darby. But that's pretty much it for Darby. In the Eastern Pacific, we see Estelle potentially becoming a major hurricane, Category 3, before moving out to sea, not going anywhere close to the Southwest or Baja California. And then we see a couple more systems possible after. More on that to come later. Now, so we see Darby right now, Central Pacific, just moving through. But this might be outdated. This is an outdated run. But I'm going to go to the European. Okay, well, let's just continue on anyway. We see Estelle potentially become a major hurricane before moving back out to sea. Nothing really more than a Category 3, but of course the Eastern Pacific has developed this training pattern, and which is pretty common for this time of year, and we could see another Category 3 or 2 this year with Estelle. Looking at sea surface temperatures, they are pretty warm, especially in the Gulf of Mexico. So any storms that form there will be able to take advantage of those waters. But near Hawaii, they're quite cool, and Darby is really just expected to die off now. In the Eastern Pacific, these waters should be cooling off after Estelle's peak, allowing it to weaken. Ocean heat content in the Atlantic, nothing much a lot in the Eastern Pacific, and the Western Pacific is quiet, but in the Atlantic, the ocean heat content is very, very high, and is actually the Gulf Stream is bringing it to the subtropics. currently. The MDR is really picking up, and the Caribbean has really picked up. We could see some waves really developing soon. Now, just local weather. We see these thunderstorms possible with this new pattern we find ourselves in, with also very hot potentially next week. More on that very soon. We had a couple thunderstorms this morning, and maybe a couple more showers with thunderstorms tonight. We have a marginal risk down south and in the Ohio Valley, as well as in the Great Plains and in Arizona for that monsoonal activity. And then just some wind and general hail, some severe thunderstorms possible. Continued some marginal risks for Montana and the southeast into the Midwest. General thunderstorm risk for our area. Maybe some isolated severe thunderstorms with wind threat being the most likely as of now. And then a marginal risk for the Northeast on day 3 with a general thunderstorm risk in our area. We could see that marginal risks extend south or become larger. We'll have to wait and see on that. And a slight risk for the upper plains for all severe as of now. We'll have more on that to come soon. And then a slight risk at least for the Midwest. We could see an enhanced risk, so we'll really be having to watch for that. More on local and national weather to come soon. And then we could see the Northeast get impacted, or the Mid-Atlantic, on day 5. But we will have to wait and see. Finally, to end off, just temperatures. We could be seeing next week up to 90s. And then going into Wednesday, we could be seeing 90s again. So just at least 90 for next week. We could be seeing those relatively hot temperatures, and then maybe some thunderstorms moving in for Friday, and just a really warm pattern expected with a lot of those warmer temperatures. Changing back to the actual entire country for midweek. We see a lot of those warm temperatures for much of the country, 90 degrees for maybe just over a half of the country in terms of area. We could see 90 degrees in our region before potentially a system moves in on day 5, and we could see some of that severe weather in our region. Looking at Thursday 4 p.m., we see those cooler temperatures start to make its way through with that system. And then on Friday 4 p.m. we see a lot of those cool temperatures trying to make its way through, still warm. But then on Saturday, we really see the cool air start to try and make its way back into the Northeast. But yeah, just still slightly cooler at night, but still very warm in the day. Some thunderstorm is possible with this pattern. Thank you for watching, and more updates to come soon.